Hi, my name's Infinite, and you're listening to Infinite Rocket Power. This podcast will be updated on a weekly or bi weekly basis regarding topics in my life and different aspects and perspectives about life. Today's topic is peace, happiness, and how do you maintain with not be taken advantage of. In today's society, it is hard now more than ever before to hold your peace consistently, stay happy, and not be taken advantage of, especially in a capitalistic society. Today, we will be diving deep into identifying the difference between peace and happiness, ways to maintain those elements in your life on a daily basis, and how you cannot be taken advantage of by people that you deal with on a daily basis. How is everyone doing today?
Blessed.
Great.
Great.
Most definitely blessed.
Good, good.
All right.
Topic.
But before we get into this topic, if you love Kate Spade, Betsy Johnson, or any other exclusive jewelry, please visit www.prosperityboutique.com and be sure you like and subscribe. All right.
Hey.
Now, starting
Yes.
with Miss B Aroma, how you doing?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast today. For those who may not know me, my name is B of B Aroma Scent, formerly known as B Aroma Scent. I am now B Organics. B Organics is a healthy hair and beard product company. We make 100% organic, herb infused hair and beard products. They are also tree nut ingredient free. So if you would like to purchase some of my products, you can either come down here to Horizon. My world is called B Organics Beauty Supply Store, or you can find me at my website at www.borganics.info. That is www.borganics.info. You can also find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Have a blessed day.
Hey.
Okay.
I'm Dollar
Your
Beezy.
turn. Your turn.
I'm just glad to be a part of the conversation today. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you,
All right.
Andrew.
Almost definitely thank you for the invite, Andrew Money 10, in Horizon Worlds, a world creator. Most definitely come check out some of our worlds and check out Horizon World if you ain't been in here yet. Most definitely.
Hi, I'm Shay Arts. I have a realtouch.com is a commission art business, and I make IRL 3D pieces and also virtual 3D assets here in Horizon Worlds. So please check out my website, a realtouch.com. Follow me on Instagram at ShayArts_VR and also a realtouch.xr.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ferrari Monet, and I'm here for the conversation.
Hey everyone, I am Shakila, better known as I am Shakila. I'm just your local inspiration, motivational coach. That's what I call myself. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. And I thank you and blessed to have you on today. Now, when we speak on peace, happiness, and how to maintain, Bia, starting with you, how do you, how do you, what does happiness mean to you? What does peace mean to you? And is it possible for both to reside in the same space?
Mm,
Happiness. Happiness means to me, what happiness means to me is my joy, being good with me, and that makes me happy because I have to start with me first. My peace is important because I can't be happy with me if I have no peace. And yes, they both do reside because with boundaries, that's how you keep them. You don't allow people to come inside of you or in your peace and destroy that because that's all you have.
Okay. All right. Dollar Beezy?
I would say it's probably a combination of three. You know, freedom, peace, and joy. You kind of need all three together, or you don't have any of them at all. Um, and yeah, I think that's pretty much what I got.
Okay.
oh man, this is a great topic to talk about. Um, I don't think you can have happiness without having peace. Peace is everything. Um, your home should most definitely be where peace is. If you can't come home and not have peace there, man, something is most definitely wrong. They have to coexist, especially with happiness. You have to find happiness within yourself first. Nobody, and I repeat this, nobody can make you happy. Even if you
Mm-mm.
within a relationship, your spouse is really not supposed to make you happy. Yeah, you should, that stuff comes or whatever, but they're not responsible for your happiness. You're supposed to have happiness within yourself first, and then they have happiness within themselves, and y'all bring y'all happiness together or whatever. Peace, man. Peace is everything to me. What was the third part of the question? Can
Can they both reside in the same space?
most definitely you can't have one without the other. You most definitely cannot have one without the other. So
Okay. Shay?
Well, I definitely feel like peace and happiness they're a balance of each other. I feel like happiness is something that you feel that gives you joy in your heart, and it's something that you can bring yourself, or that something externally brings you. Is that positive energy that you're absorbing? And I feel like happy. I'm sorry, that was happiness. I feel like peace is more of a mental concept. You have peace of mind and you have happiness of heart because you have an understanding that happiness comes and goes.
Okay.
Well, so can they reside in the same space? Of course, they can, because you won't recognize happiness if you don't have peace, whether it's within yourself or whatever's going on.
Ferrari?
Everybody pretty much said it. The same thing, like finding happiness within yourself. Because I found myself sometimes looking for it in other people, and I had to learn it comes from me first. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely, you have to have it within you first. Peace, I need that over everything. So definitely, they can coincide together because you really can't have one without the other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And tequila.
Um, when you say happiness, I'm like I feel, or I go to a place where Shay said where it's like a feeling, and I feel like I'm excited, or it's an emotion of being over happy. If that makes sense. But when you say peace, um, I kind of go to a place where, because I know everything is not always going to be great, so I can be still, and I can still be happy in peace with all the turmoil around me, because like I said, it's not that's just my version. I feel like it's not always going to be great, but I can still have peace knowing I'm in my purpose and I'm okay, and this is the right path that I'm on. So I'm at peace, and especially if we're talking about when it comes to other people, because sometimes we tend to be in our own bubble and other people aren't happy with how we're moving. So as long as I know I'm in my purpose, I'm happy and I'm at peace, and whatever's going on around me, it's not to bother me, because I'm where I belong. So I feel like they both can coexist, because I'm at the right place at the right time, mentally and all that, emotionally and all that.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
It does. All right. Starting with Bia. What do you think is the most important factor in achieving happiness and peace?
Boundaries. We must have boundaries. And when you know you doing it right is when people mad
mm,
because you doing something to make you happy, to keep you in your mental peace. Nah, you do what you do. I'm gonna do what I do to keep me safe mentally, emotionally, and financially. Because if I don't, I'm gonna end up in jail, and that's gonna cause me to have to pay for some bail money.
Andrew Money, I want to ask you the same question.
what was the question again? I'm sorry.
What is the most important factor in achieving peace and happiness for you?
Ooh, I would say how do I put this? Yo, your mind, your sense of everything that's going around you. I think you can't really choose one because there's so much that goes into happiness and then peace. Um, even though I said like you can like two. You can't have one without the other. You can be happy and not have peace. You can have peace and not be happy. So I would say it's a bunch of different factors that goes into um, getting that goal. Um, it's kind of hard to really just pick one. So
Okay.
because
So
everybody's situation is different.
so
Everybody's
but
situation
for
is
you,
different.
being in tune would probably be the most important factor.
It's definitely.
Okay. All right. Dollar Beezy, I want to ask you this. If you had to choose between happiness and peace, which one would you
Mm.
choose and why?
You know, mute.
I would say peace. I believe peace is
Hmm.
the quickest route to finding your happiness. You
Yes.
know, if you're at peace, you're in tune with yourself. You're at peace. You're able to see things you just can't see when you're not. So, I would take the one that gets me the other, and I believe that's peace.
Okay. Shay Arts, I would like to ask you the same question.
Can you repeat it?
If you had to choose between peace and happiness, which one would you choose and why?
Well, I would of course choose peace because I believe in duality, and I believe in that you won't understand being happy and having that joy unless you experience something negative. You won't understand and have that
Mm.
positive until you go through that in whatever type of situation. And so I definitely would choose peace because if you have peace, you understand that it comes and goes, and then you're able to recognize it in those small doses when they come in everyday things.
All right. Ferrari, I would like to ask you this. What does the concept of peace and happiness, how does the concept of peace and happiness differ across cultures?
Mm.
Wow.
It's a
um,
deep
that's a
question.
big one. It different. I mean, it really depends on how you were raised, like with cultures, because of who you are. Wow. Yeah, it all boils down to like how you were raised. For me, that's what I get out of it.
Okay. Shaquila?
I'm gonna sadly ask. Can you ask me? Can you ask the question again? Because I want to make sure I answer it right.
Okay. How does the concept of happiness and peace differ across cultures?
I feel like I don't. I feel like I have this thing where I tell everybody your perspective is your experience. So I don't want to say cultures. I feel like the way you experience life gives you your perspective, which is why we all go different ways in how we feel as if we're getting our peace and ways that we're going about to get our peace, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
All right. Andrew Money, I want to ask you this. How do you think technology has changed our understanding of happiness and peace?
Ooh, drastically. I mean, wow. Um, One, probably the biggest factor is the social media aspect of it. So many people post fantasies that people think this is what happiness looks like or this is what peace looks like. And I didn't see it with my own eyes. People use that as motivation or as a goal and think that's what peace and happiness looks like. Social media and technology has most definitely changed the way people look at peace and happiness. And I don't think people, my opinion, I don't think people should be looking that way for peace or happiness because everybody's life is different.
I love that answer, and
Great
it's funny.
question. Great question.
And I was speaking with Shay earlier. I was telling her, if we weren't in this capitalistic society, I would be happy living in a village in a hut with a family,
I'm telling
and
you,
listening to water
man,
all day.
telling you.
Hmm.
It's just so much stuff out here. It's just crazy that everybody just think that's everybody life is different.
Very true. All right, B, let me ask you this. What daily habits do you practice to maintain your peace and happiness?
Minding my business, staying in my lane.
Definitely.
Period. That's it.
But they but
Drinking my water and staying hydrated.
they
Hmm.
won't let you do that sometimes, B. They come knocking on your
No,
door.
I will fight you for my peace. I will fight you for my peace. That I will give. I will
Telling
give
you.
you an ass whipping on that one. I will fight you for my peace, because that's what keeps me whole. That's
Mm,
what keeps me sane in my mind is my
Hmm.
peace. And if I allow you to get me out of my character and get me out of my space, my comfort zone all the time, what service am I doing to myself? I'm
mm,
allowing you to dictate how I emotionally act. No, no, that's
mm.
draining.
Okay. So, Dollar Bees, let me ask you this. How do you handle difficult situations and people that disrupt your peace?
Mm.
Um, well, my first thing is I always just go with to remove myself. Even in my physical world, I don't go places where I can't drive most of the time, or I don't mind Uber myself from. So, if I can get out of the situation, that's just usually the easiest thing to do. And also I don't surround myself with people that don't have a certain level of respect for me. Because if you don't respect me, you won't respect my peace. You don't respect my privacy. You don't respect any of that. So I just choose not to keep those people in my circles. I pick my circles wisely, or at least I like to think I'm doing it wisely. Maybe I don't, but that that's just the easiest way. Like the best part about this headset, even I can power it off one button, boop, done.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
just monitoring where I go, how I go, and who I do it with. I can love
Mm.
you
Okay.
from across the street.
Hmm.
Love you from another state.
We need to put that on the
Definitely.
Shit.
t-shirt.
Another country. Another world. Man.
Ferrari, let me ask you, in what ways do you incorporate self-care into your daily routine?
Self care for me is I take my me time in the morning. I pray first thing when I get up, definitely to start my day. Then I just take my time for myself as far as just reading something or reading some inspirational, quotes and stuff like that. And that's what I do during the day. I keep them going, to keep me at peace because I feel like at one time, like, I didn't do that. Like, I was
Mm.
really letting people get me out of character and I was really letting them interrupt me. So I had to get back in that space recently. Like, no, you got out of this space, and this is what happened because you got out of that. So you need to take your time for yourself, get yourself together, and then the day will go accordingly. So, yeah, I usually just do all that in the morning.
Okay. Shay Arts, do you believe that maintaining peace and happiness is a personal responsibility or is it influenced by external factors?
I want to say it's a bit of both. First and foremost, is internal because if you don't have peace within yourself and how who you are, what you are, and how you move, you won't have peace. You won't find happiness with anything. I feel like they're definitely correlated. I'm sorry. Excuse me, and then I'm coughing out there. Um, I'm sorry. But I definitely feel like that it's something that you control. That you at the end of the day, it's something that you control. Like, and then it just comes. As far as external, of course, there are things around you and people that bring you happiness. No person or nothing external should be the thing that brings you peace because that's all materialistic. Um, so I feel like you have peace in yourself. You'll find happiness in everything, whether it's big or small, or in small moments, or in gatherings, or whatever.
But is that not hard to do in this capitalistic society where they condition you to be attached to that?
That
Mm.
definitely is, because especially growing up in the time area I grew up, in the area that I grew up, in the way that I grew up, I grew up with a lot of negativities, and so I only recognized the negativities. I was very pessimistic and sarcastic and nonchalant and unfeeling, and so I wasn't able to see those little moments of happiness that in turn, grew the bigger moments. So I learned to believe in manifestation. What you think about is what you're gonna always see, and that's what's gonna draw to you. And so once I recognized that I was bringing um, that bad energy, and that's what I was focusing on, I didn't have any peace within myself, and I was never happy. And so definitely recognizing how do you find peace personally. It all depends on that person and their being of how what is your peace and how do you find happiness within yourself. But it's definitely a mental strain. Of course, we see everything on social media and everything that tries to influence you, but that still comes down to self control and self management and being intentional.
I love it. Love it. Shaquila, what role does gratitude play in your life? And how does it contribute to your overall sense of peace and happiness?
Gratitude is my attitude. Um,
I love
no,
that.
that's I say that because it's this guy named Londrell, y'all. He has a song. It's called Gratitude. If you ever get a chance, listen to it. Um, Kind of like what Shay just said. I my background, and even it and subconsciously, it still manifests in my day to day life. I have a daily fight. I fight daily to be who I'm trying to become. So I have to just say, God, thank you for where I'm at. Even if I don't feel it, I let him know that thank you because I know I'm on my way. So for me, I just be I try to be intentional with being grateful for the things that I do have, the people that are in my life and around me, like anything. Like, hey, I woke up and the heat was up, and I usually don't have it on. Like, I try to be with. That's how deep it is for me. Like, I just try to be intentional. What was it? A second part of it?
Let's see here. And how does it contribute to your overall sense of happiness? So you basically,
I feel like, yeah, when you focus on something positive or something that you're grateful for, I feel like unless you just, I mean, I ain't gonna say I haven't been down, but you got to be really down to have a something to be grateful for and not even acknowledge it. So
Mm.
it's just being intentional and acknowledging the things that that you're grateful for, you're thankful for.
But
You know,
many of us do that on a daily basis. We take the smallest
the
things
little
to be
stuff.
Minute, the
we take
littlest
advantage of.
things.
Just waking
mm,
up in the morning is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to get
Big
up out your
blessing.
bed and go to the bathroom and pee without assistance is a
Yes,
blessing. But we take
yes,
advantage of those things. People that are out here with no limbs and sitting that have a bag on them, a colostomy bag, they they wish they had those days where they could do it on their
Hmm.
own.
yep.
So we have to be grateful for every little thing,
Everything.
blinking our eyes, being able to blow our
Yeah.
nose, all of that to be grateful for.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The small
So,
things.
Yeah.
Bia, that leads me to my next question for you. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision that required you to prioritize your own peace and happiness over someone else's? And how did you handle it?
Mm.
That's a good one.
I'm in the midst of planning that now.
I swear.
That is, I
I'm in
want.
the
Give me me.
We need the man
I'm
might
in
want
the
that
midst of
question.
that of
Me.
planning that now.
Man.
Yes. And regardless of how other people may feel, I have to do it for my own peace.
Mm.
I have to. I have to.
Okay. Did anybody else want to jump on that
Mm.
question?
Yeah, that's a great
I'll go after
question.
Andrew.
Oh, I was on mute. I
Um,
wanted to get on
Yeah, we do a round table then. Let's go and
Okay,
go around.
yeah,
We're
let's
gonna
do a
everybody
round
go
table on
around.
that one. Let's
yeah,
go
we
around.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, go. You wanna go ahead, DB?
Go ahead,
Yeah,
darling.
yeah, yeah.
I'll go
I
ahead.
do. I'm
Yeah,
itching.
go
I ain't
ahead
gonna lie.
then.
Like it. I mean, I think everybody would agree. It's probably one of the hardest things to do because in the mix of it, you really start to like wonder if even choosing yourself first is the right thing to do because it don't feel good when you do it. And
Mm-mm.
Mm,
a lot of times, like the person, even if they're asking something of you that's not even right. you know that it hurts him so bad,
Your
but you kind of
Wi-Fi
want to give it
messing
to him.
up.
I experienced.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
bro,
glitching. Yeah, you
Yeah, he
hold on.
glitching.
glitching.
That was just me.
You cut my stream. I be streaming. Uno. Um, is it better now?
Mhm.
A little bit, yeah.
You know,
You still glitching
good
for
now.
me.
Oh Lord.
It might.
Well,
It
you go
could
ahead
be
and
our
I'll come
internet.
back.
Okay,
It could
we'll,
be
we'll
our
come back.
internet
Yeah,
too.
we'll come back to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come
To
back.
go back on what he's saying, most definitely, you start to think, choosing your peace and happiness over somebody else. Sometimes it don't feel like it's the right decision.
People will call
Like,
you selfish.
they call you exactly. That's what I was going
Mm-hmm.
to get to. People call you selfish. It just seems selfish. And to get a little bit personal, like in my life, like I'm kind of like the man in my family. So I do everything for my family. My mom, my sisters, grandmothers. Is like when anything's going down, they call me or whatever. So, and I had, especially getting into a relationship, then having a wife, then having a child, like I had to, that could become a problem.
Prioritize.
Choosing your,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, prioritizing that, choosing your,
Mm-hmm.
your family problems and their happiness and peace over, your wife and the relationship and yours as well.
Mhm.
So it's, man, that question, it hits deep because I had to really battle with, my bad, I had to really battle with that, by choosing my peace and happiness over my family. So
Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes you just have to make that decision. If you do choose to choose somebody else, will that stop yours? So,
Well, don't
man,
never
that's
make
a
your wife second, because that will be hell to
almost
pay.
definitely. Once we got married, that was over with.
Definitely.
That was over with.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most definitely.
Mhm.
Once we got married, that was over with. Happiness most definitely come before anybody else outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
That's right.
Shay Arts.
Oh shoot.
Shay, you want
Won't
to
you
jump
repeat the
in?
question again?
Okay. How do you let's see. How have you ever had to make a difficult decision that required you to prioritize your own peace over someone else's expectations? And how did you handle it?
Um, well, I feel like it's the negative experience and energy in life that really defines the difference between peace and happiness. Because happiness is being in that moment of joy and positive, and negative peace is understanding the difference. And so there have definitely been moments where I've been unhappy with a decision I had to make with someone, but it brought me peace, and I knew it would bring me peace in the long run. Like especially with a relationship with family or whatever. You definitely have to prioritize yourself first and foremost, because if you put that person ahead even to find peace within that situation, you still won't be happy. And so it's definitely depending on the situation. You have to choose whether you want to be happy and then deal with the chaos that comes with it, or do you want to go through something that's difficult and feel sad and hurt, but still have peace within yourself that that's gonna pass and it's gonna move. So
Mm,
um, definitely important to do that.
that's deep, Shay.
It was mostly when it came to my family. That's when I had to like really put my foot down because I felt like I was choosing my family over relationships and things that I had to do that I knew were priority. But because my family called me, I take off. You know what I mean? Like, so I had to learn how to be like, look, y'all already got what y'all have. I'm working on this. So in order for me to have this, I gotta say no sometimes to y'all. I gotta say no to being there for you sometimes. So that's what it was with me. Like I had to do it. I mean, in the end, they respected me. Were they mad at first? Of course. But at the end of the day, I had to realize it's about me and I have to
Mm-hmm.
do for me.
Mm,
And it's something you just said that hit Ferrari. At the end of the day, they respected you.
yep.
Hmm.
Hmm.
yeah.
Dollar
You not
Beezy?
DB.
Am I good now? All right, cool.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you good. You good.
Um, and that's what I was getting at. Like that hard part is when you're in that choice making or that decision making space, where a lot of times especially for me, like a lot of things that when I find myself, it has involved money, to be honest. And sometimes your relationship may not make it past that choice. So it's like ultimately, am I more happy with my decision and my peace now, or severing a relationship? Is it going to hurt me more later? And I got a rule personally that I don't fight over money. So sometimes I'm like, am I choosing myself? And is it possibly choosing money? Like, am I doing right or wrong, or is it me trying to really do what's best for me? And it's best for me not hurting somebody enough to the point where we can still maintain a relationship going forward. Because you know, it's, it's really rough, man. Like, and I feel like I deal with it a lot. Like, it's like even in VR, a lot of times, like people just don't have an understanding. So their understanding makes you think that you're being more harsh than you may be. Like, oh, just build me this. You're DB. You can just whip that up. Like, no, that's 30 hours of work. Like, you're saying it and you requesting it like it's just nothing. Like,
So
you
why
seeing
you
the
won't do
result.
it?
You're not seeing them hours of active. Like, you're not seeing that. Like, I'm on, times where people aren't. But what I'm saying is like it does. I agree with everybody. It's respect in there, and a lot of times when you're choosing yourself, is because that person really asks you or not respecting you. Like that's what it comes down to. I think so.
Because
Appreciate
they
it.
have to respect you.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
people don't want to respect us. They feel like they can just treat you any kind of way or do, and especially family. They think like, well, you're supposed to do it. No, I don't.
Mm,
Yes.
No, I don't.
that's it
Talk
I
right
to
have a
him,
there.
G.
choice.
Man,
Everybody
that's
has a
it.
choice, and I have a choice too, and I choose not to do it, and that's it. I'm not
Mm,
selfish. I'm choosing me, and that's what
mm.
I'm gonna do. Choose me first. You chose you first, so I'm gonna
You
choose
came
me.
ask me. Yeah.
Right,
And,
right.
and and that's one of the things that sometimes disturbs my peace be is when people take away your choice.
That's my rule.
Mm,
Don't take my right
Absolutely.
to choose. That is my
Exactly.
law
mm,
and my rule.
Right. Don't choose for me. Don't do
Hmm.
Right.
it.
So, B, let me ask you this. Do you believe that seeking professional help, really, such as therapy and counseling, can be a beneficial to maintaining peace and happiness? Why or why not?
Yes, I do. Because I do it myself. I go to therapy, and it's crucial because we all are living with some type of traumatic issue in our lives from childhood, whether it be abandonment issues, something, molestation, something we are dealing with. And if you don't deal with it as a child, it will show up in your adult life in all of your relationships, and you will ruin somebody.
mm,
You will cut people that did not bleed on you. I mean, you'll
Mm,
bleed on people that did not cut you, and that is the worst part. And then you'll be looking at that person like, well, what's wrong with you? You hurt them. You ruined them. You did that to them because you didn't fix yourself. And you chose to stay in a relationship with somebody that you was beating on verbally, beating on physically, just doing them wrong. And then you wonder why they turned out to be who they are
mm,
Yep. Y'all pray for
because
my
of what
Wi-Fi,
they
please.
what they went through with you.
mm.
Fix you, and I say this for everybody. Fix you before you get into any relationship with anybody.
Yes.
mm, mm, mm.
Mm.
Now, transitioning into not being taken advantage of. We're gonna start with Shaquila because we missed your lovely voice for a second. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt like you were taken advantage of, and how did you handle that situation?
Most definitely. I'm I try to be as transparent as I can because I have a thing within my being, my very being of wanting to be a helper with the 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 women community. When I come up in these situations, I try my best to first look at self. Like, are you making the right decision? And when I say self, like for my whole aspect of life, being a mom, everything about me, am I making the right decision? Because that's usually when someone's taking advantage of you, you get a hint. and you know something's up. So if you're not sure, question is it is it in alignment of what you got going on in your life right now? Is it in alignment that where you're supposed to be? You know what I'm saying? And then when I get real confused, I go to I hate to say elders, but I feel like certain people in my circle that are of wisdom to where I could look to them. And then if not, like I said, I pray and meditate a lot. I do it in my sleep. I know I do. I know God be like, shut up, godly. But um being taken advantage of, I don't want to also take away of the fact that it's gonna happen. I mean, I hope that doesn't sound bad, but it it's gonna happen. I just say that just be mindful of self, because sometimes we are so self-preserving in what we want to do, and then somebody or something comes and you're making it more easier for you to be preyed on, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Um, Instead of going within and paying attention to what's going on around you instead of what you want in regard instead of what you need. But that's how I feel.
All right, Shay Arts. What are some common signs that someone is taking advantage of you?
Um, well, the first and foremost sign is you will definitely get that feeling. Like if something don't feel right, it most likely ain't right, and you need to analyze and figure out what that is. That is the first and foremost sign. Is if to always trust your gut, your body. If something's making you uncomfortable, whatever, that's the first sign. Even if talking to someone, they you get a certain vibe and they come near you, that's probably someone you shouldn't talk to too much. Um, Another one would be using discernment. Don't never rush into anything. Always peep a person out, even friends or family, because people change as they get older, and people's personalities change based on the experiences they go through. And so even with family, like I have five sisters. The way one may have been growing up, she may not be that same type because of her situation changes. So always just use discernment um, when dealing with people. And
Rocky, can I?
think the last one would be just to communicate. I'm sorry, like if
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
always communicate, and let your truth be known. If if something doesn't feel right, ask questions with whatever situation. So those my top three.
I love it. I love it. What was you gonna say, Shaquilla?
I was gonna add, if it's okay for me to add, about questioning your gut. Sometimes, like Shay was saying, we just get that gut. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go with your gut. Because I am number one for second guessing myself. So when you get that gut feeling, it's there for a reason, and it could be wrong because I'm an overthinker myself. But just go with it and figure. Like, don't just let that thought go and not investigate it. Like, go
Mm.
with your gut. If your gut is telling you no, go with it. I feel like it's there for a reason.
Okay. Andrew Money, let me ask you this. Do you think that people who are vulnerable are more likely to be taken advantage of?
Most definitely. Um, and it still depends on, because everybody's different. But being vulnerable, most of the time, a lot of people is looking for approval from people and different things like that. So you will be a little bit more willing to be taken advantage of. So most definitely.
Okay. Dollar Beezy, let me ask you this. Have you ever unintentionally taken advantage of someone? And how did you realize it? And how did you rectify that situation?
Mm,
Um, yeah, if I'm being completely honest and transparent about it, my my woman, you know,
mm,
a lot of I let's see how to put this. She had a will to please me that went beyond what she was comfortable doing, and I didn't know. So I'm thinking, I'm doing what I want to do. You doing what you want to do. But realistically, she was doing, above and beyond because she thought it was going to please me or keep me or whatever.
Mm.
And when I found out, my first thought was like, I just want to understand like her thought process. Like in the moment of doing something, are you saying I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do this, or
Mm.
I don't mind doing it, but I didn't want to do it right now. See, if they're doing
Mm.
it, where's the weight fall? Like, if does it is it on me or is it? But would you not do it if it didn't involve me? To me, that's
Mm.
something that you didn't really want to do. If it would be a no, if it wasn't me involved, then it's something you didn't want to do. So it was a lot of conversations, and over time, like figuring out where that line is between being of service and serving your woman, and her serving her man, and where it went beyond that, and she was being taken advantage of because she was willing. So
Mm.
that's me.
That's deep. Anybody else want to share? Have they ever unintentionally taken advantage of someone? Did they realize it and rectify the situation?
That's funny, because I had a situation not too long ago, even just here recently in the metaverse. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes, like, something may happen and you find out later that it was a different type of situation. But just for example, a few weeks ago, someone asked me to make a certain script for them. And it's a script that I've seen and I can kind of analyze how it's made. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to charge you this much for it. I'm going to make the script. After a few weeks of people helping me with the script, someone just gave me a version of the script for a far less price. Well, I ain't gonna say they gave me. They gave me access to the script for a far less price of what I would have charged that person. Keep in mind that the script is only being sold for this amount. So it's like I have already I had already charged this person this amount. They already sent it to me, and then I turn around and get the thing that I'm building at a way lower cost of something that's already being sold around at this cost. But I've already charged this person this much because this is how much I would have charged for making this script myself. So
Mm.
then it came to um, a moment of insight of how I should move with this situation. Should I let it be known that this script is already out there and is at a far lower cost of what I had already charged you for? You had already paid me for it, or should I give him some of this money back or whatever, whatever? And so I sat with that. I sat with that for a minute because things like that bother me because I believe in karma. So even if you unintentionally
Mm-hmm.
take
Mm-hmm.
advantage of
Mm.
someone, that's still something that
Every
will
seed you
eventually
sow, you
affect
shall
you either
also reap.
internally or whatever.
Mm.
Right. And so what it came to it was I ended up telling that person that, hey, I charged you much for this script, but
Mm.
this is how much it actually costs for that script. So what I'm gonna do is what you paid for that is what I paid for that script. That's that cost. And so the rest of this cost of what you paid for, I'm gonna build you a custom asset around this script. And
Mm.
so you're not just gonna get this basic piece that everyone has. You're gonna get this custom made piece with this
Wow.
script and make sure you let it be known it was scripted by this person on somewhere on the thing. And then I feel like that was an even trade. So
Mm-hmm.
I
and
And now
love
they'll
that, Shay.
respect you for that. They'll respect you
Yeah,
for that, and they'll tell other
definitely.
Yeah.
people, "This is how she
Mhm.
treated me, even though this is what she did for me," and he'll bring other people to you.
Right.
But see, in a capitalistic society, some people might say, "Well, Shay done double to triple her money. Get your money, girl."
Mhm.
yeah. Or they'll be like, there's a thing lately. Oh, they're out there selling scripts. They have that. That's been going around a little bit. Even though I bought my script fair and square from the person who made it,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he's selling it for this amount, and I really did charge that guy about 3 times that amount
Oh wow.
because that's how much.
Crazy.
That's my price of sitting there for hours trying to figure out how to make this script.
Mhm.
Got
And
you.
so I've turned around and put those hours back into making him a custom asset instead of that basic mesh piece he put it on,
Hey.
and we were both outside.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Mm.
your price is your
Yeah,
price, though. Never
Right.
Mm-hmm.
change your
yeah,
price. Change
Right.
your
Yeah.
clientele. Telling you,
Mm-hmm.
man.
yeah.
Change your price.
I,
Change your clientele.
McDonald's don't charge five. They don't get charged five
I'm
dollars for your
telling you,
burgers. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So,
Right.
but
Right.
it's
man.
it, it's always a break. them. And
Yeah.
that's the hardest part in here is that we're dealing with business people that we
Mm-hmm.
also know socially. It's
Right.
not just I did
Yes,
The
Andrew bad
reputation
yes.
business.
thing.
I'm hanging out with him now in the club, or I'm over here in
Yeah.
another world with him where
Mm-hmm.
after I did him dirty. So it's like added, weight
So
on
much
every
on it.
scenario.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Ferrari,
still
let me
your
ask you.
choice, Shay, with how you want to do business.
Mhm.
It's still your
Mm-hmm.
choice because your blessing is
Mm-hmm.
gonna come from how you do business, not how
Right.
other people do business.
Mm,
Right. Mm-hmm.
If
I
you
love
feel
that.
it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm sorry.
No,
Right.
I'm not saying that it's wrong. That's not what I'm
No, no. I
saying.
No.
said if
But
you
what
if you
No, no, no.
personally,
If you
You was
feel
just
it,
making
like
a
I felt
statement.
that
Yeah.
Yeah, you
personal
was making a
because
right,
I
statement.
yeah,
believe in
yeah,
negligence
Yeah.
selling.
Yeah, she was
mm-hmm.
right.
tripling her money, but she still felt some type of way about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she kept the
Because
money
there's a
though.
social
She just
aspect
did
of
something
it.
else.
right.
She was like, I ain't getting it back, but I'll do something else for you.
But I will do something
Yeah.
else for you,
I love
and in
that.
turn, that's gonna bless you. That's gonna bless you because
Right.
you handle business in a proper way.
I'm still angry
Not
for
Because
you
if
all,
he'd have
people. I
heard
do
not
about
something else
that
for
always
you.
though.
somewhere in these meta streets, he'd have came to you on some rah rah tip. But because
Right.
you caught
He
it
would have
in the
definitely have
beginning,
heard about it.
yes,
Yeah.
and but
Yeah.
you
Well,
help you
here
you
goes the
took
other
it in
thing
a
though.
professional way. You did it in a professional way.
Okay.
I do a lot of good deeds and seem like they get punished the most. So sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you do that and then the person still be upset.
But
You
you
know,
gotta
Mm-hmm.
well,
understand
like,
your blessing don't come from the person. Your blessing comes from other places.
That is
So
true.
however other
no,
people
I
feel
agree with that.
about the way you operate, you still gonna be blessed because it comes from your heart.
Mm-hmm.
You can't
Absolutely,
please everybody.
Oh,
that's
most
true.
definitely can't.
Okay.
Not at all.
All
She
right. We
keeps.
just got.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no. What was you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, just me being transparent. Me and Miss B talk about that a lot because, I'm in a space where I just want to help people and stuff like that. And sometimes, like Dala was saying, they still, you
Mm.
just got situations where they are still talking bad, just not putting you in a positive light, but regardless, you still want to be of assistance. Sometimes that kind of just discourages me, like I'm not doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
But having someone like her, I would say, I love Miss B, to let
Love
me
you
know,
too,
like, just do what. It's hard sometimes to do what's put in your heart, and then
Mm.
the people that you try to do it for make you feel like. Can I? I'm sorry, I don't want to cuss.
You can.
Make you feel like shit. Um, and I feel like because I'm going strictly for a community of women, we already treat each other like shit, and
Mm.
it's like they'll be like, "Well, no, I just seen you at AM Domino's cussing," but no, if I'm here right now, Miss such and
Right.
such, like it just gets discouraging sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know Miss B be like, Shakila, what's meant for you to do, if God put it in your heart, do it. And it's kind of a fine line sometimes because sometimes I just want to say F it and quit because it's like, how do I do all of this and put, even if it's in the metaverse or on the outside, because I don't want to get on a soapbox. I've always tried to figure out how to come up with a way to get bread, to do a nonprofit organization in real life, and I never could. But guess what? I came to the metaverse and built something for free for the same purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I get to do the same thing, but it's just so much turmoil around me trying to help. So it's like, should I just not help? But because of what people are saying, feeling, and thinking of what their own perspective is. So
Mm.
it just hit something when she said that, when she was just like, just do what you're supposed to do. And sometimes that's
Mm-hmm.
hard. It's
Let
hard.
me
Like,
let me tell
The
you.
right
They talked
answer
about
or the right thing is sometimes ain't easy. But go ahead, B.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They talked about Jesus Christ. They whipped him. They beat him for being who he was, for doing what he do. When
Mm.
he got to a point in his humanity, even though he was God and human, in his humanity, he said to God, "Take this bitter cup from me," because he didn't want to do it either. So don't
Mm-hmm.
ever feel like you failing because you don't want to do it. That means you're in a place of blessing.
Yeah.
Keep going. No matter how hard it is, keep going. For every step you take, God, I thank you. For every walk, God, I thank you. Because it's within His strength when you are weak, you can be strong. It's
Yeah.
His strength. that you take with you, because you, like I just told Dollar, you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
If one person receives something from you, that's a blessing,
Straight
because that's the
blessing.
person that's going to take your word or whatever you gave them and travel it. Word of mouth is the best marketing you could ever have. You don't look for
Absolutely.
numbers. That one person to take what you gave to them and keep it, and that's it.
Okay. All right. I got a few more questions and we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Starting with Ferrari. What are some strategies you use to avoid being taken advantage of?
Um, really just analyzing what they're saying to me, and like I said, putting my foot down. Like, my strategy is, I'm such a nice person. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want nobody to be mad, or I don't want to not do this. So I try to like analyze it, and if I really know that I can't do it, or if I know that, like, look, if I do this, then this is gonna be offset for me, then I just tell them no. Period. Like, that's just my strategy. Like, be honest instead of saying that I can do it and knowing that I can't. So I
Mm-hmm.
just try to be upfront.
Did you want to say something, Shaquila, to that?
Hi, my name is Shaquila, and I just learned how to say no.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
Just learned.
I've just learned how
Just
to say no.
No.
Okay.
Man,
Why does it? I mean, does
is it so
have
hard?
anybody ever? Do
it
you
is.
feel like a thing where it's like, oh my god, I just made like no, and
Yeah.
then you sit there and be like, I told him no, and I'm supposed to, but Andrew ain't gonna talk. He gonna be mad at me. Like,
Right.
you know
Oh
what I'm
well.
saying? Like,
Oh
That's
Yeah,
how I
well.
feel.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
well.
I
but you
do be
found
He
feeling
peace
just
that
gonna
doing
be
way.
no.
mad.
You
He
do,
just
you
gonna be
do,
mad.
fam. I don't know. That's
Hmm.
kind of hard because I think I think too much about it. Like, even when I do say no, especially to my family or certain people or whatever, you do think about the backlash and how they feel after you said
Yeah.
no for a minute. I think about it for
Yeah.
a minute, like, man, like how they feel. Like, it's
Hmm.
it's it's hard saying no. It really is. So, and you do get a piece from it after a while, especially if you get a different reaction to what you thought you would get. Because most of the time,
Hmm.
it's like, oh, okay, I ask somebody else type of thing. You get what I'm saying? You be like, oh damn, I should have been saying no the whole
Right.
minute. So
I
like,
love
I
it.
didn't think he was gonna react
Get
this
somebody
way.
else
I thought she was
exactly.
gonna do all this. So man,
Yeah.
it's a big
Yes.
relief sometimes. So you do get some peace from it, but man, but sometimes when you do say no, it could go the
It's
wrong way.
hard.
So I think that's
Yeah.
the only thoughts
It's
that we do
Right.
think about is the bad way it can go
Yeah.
when you say no.
Right.
So that's
Yes.
why
But
I
the
had it
only
I
so
don't
reason
know.
bad.
the only reason why it's hard for
Have
you to say
clarity.
no is because you don't mean it. If you mean it, it's not hard to
Mm,
say no. You have to
Ooh.
mean it.
ooh,
No.
It's the
and
intention.
and mean it. Yes. And it's
Uh,
not
mm.
hard. It's not hard.
He,
I
Mm.
have the
he a
gift of
cat.
no.
Wow.
I have the
I
gift
I
of
wish I
no.
think
knew
Ask
that.
my
I
son.
think
I
that
gotta
was
get
My
you.
son will
Was
like
tell
that you,
you.
Miss
I gotta
B?
get there. I'm not
I
there.
think
I
it
Mm.
gotta
was.
get there.
Man,
I
Me neither.
think it was Miss B. I think we talked about this recently because we were just talking about training people on how to treat you,
Yes.
and
mm,
I
Wow.
think it was Miss B that told me that she said, Shakila,
mm,
once you start going to this specific person and continuing and being consistent, and let's just use for example saying no, they will already know. I'm not gonna play with her like that, and that goes
Mm-hmm.
back to taking
yeah,
advantage.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's like
training.
no, I maybe it's something I used to let you. I used to let you take advantage of me. I used to let you call whatever it was. You know now when you call me, it's if it's a no now, you're not as offended because this new Shakila, you are aware of her. She's
Yeah.
present.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Mm-hmm.
here. She's present. I just want to add that. Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
love it.
Well, could I add something real quick?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I I feel like I'm the spokesperson for getting taken advantage of. Like I feel like nobody got taken advantage of more than me. Money, yeah. Move in with you, yeah. A car, yeah. Like
Hmm.
everything you could possibly use the person for, it was
Yes.
me. Like
Yes.
man, and I mean, I used to have this little what you call it? I had an issue with it. I can't think of the word I want to use right now. But I was out of fear. that I was so scared of being used, I would run everybody through this gauntlet. Like I'd be like, okay, yeah, me and Drew cool. As soon as you ask me for $5, I'm gonna give it to him. And if he don't get back, never again. Like okay, like and then like like everything.
Oh, I
Like
know what
okay,
you're saying.
I'm gonna leave my wallet and I'm gonna put this money on the dresser. And if she asks me for something, she's trying to use me. She's a user. And then like like I got 2 cars, and I tell her that on the first date. If she try to get one, she'll use it. Like I had all these little nonsense stuff.
Something
or
happened to you
food.
in your childhood that you
Most definitely.
Manifested
it
to our
started from your
adulthood.
You were too
childhood.
giving,
Something.
probably.
No,
and
Yeah.
they
no.
expected
What it
that
is
from
is
you.
where it comes from is my mom made me feel bad for not.
About
Like I was a
wanting-
single. I was a single kid. Is that the
Child.
right word? No.
single
A
child,
child of a
childhood.
single mother. A
A
child
single
of a
parent
single mother.
household.
It don't sound right. My mom only had one
child.
kid.
He's the only
Yeah, I was the
child.
only child. There we go.
Yeah,
Damn, thanks, Drew.
Yeah.
And what would happen is, I would, every time other kids would come over, I wouldn't let them. No, these my toys. What you bring?
That's
Like,
that's
okay.
that single child. That's that single child.
and
Yeah,
syndrome.
I'm on.
Mine,
And my mom was
mine.
against that, and she
That's
forced
that,
me.
yeah, mine.
Or my
Forced you to
dad would
share.
send me out with other kids, and he'd give money. I
Mhm.
think like my dad sent $50. I can get $50 worth of stuff. It don't work like that when you take a group of kids out. I didn't understand as a kid, so I had all this. My mom just rammed down my throat that I was not going to be selfish. So as an adult, I became this giver that gave too much, and that was
They
a
expected that.
backlash. And I'm gonna be honest.
You
the
still have
part
to
that hurt me
have
was-
boundaries with giving. You still have to have boundaries
Absolutely.
with giving.
I learned that now at later
As an
years.
adult.
But the hurt part was when I walked up on these girls and they was all talking about how they use me. And I was like, wow. Like they'd sit there and talk about, yeah, I got this from, I got that. I'm thinking, we cool, we friends. I'm holding you
Wow.
down. That's what friends do. And they was talking about using and that put that instant wall up. And then but the way that I overcame that was I realized I'm only gonna give people what I want to give them. Even when I go to the
Yes.
club, I go to the club, I got $100 for the bar. I don't care if it's 10 drinks on you or it's 10 drinks on me or who get
That's
them.
all
I
you
don't
gonna
care. They got $100 for the bar. However, if you feel like you used me for a drink, congratulations. That was going to the bar anyway.
Yeah.
And I do all my life like that. I used to be everybody's first friend to call in the middle of the night when your car broke down. I'm like, did you call anybody else before me? They like, nah, I just knew you would. Like,
Hey,
wow,
hey, this is what
yeah.
they do for a living.
Yeah.
Yes. But you know what? He
Yes.
just said, when he just said that, what happens when you start to identify? That's how you start to
That's
identify
growth.
yourself.
That's
No. When I say identify yourself, is he was intentional in saying, well, did you even try to call anybody else besides me? And then me, I will wake up at 2:00 in the morning like, oh, okay, well, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, where does it come? I guess it's with the boundaries. I guess it's with the boundaries of you becoming aware. Like, now you take once again you taking advantage.
Taking accountability.
Yeah, that
Because
too.
once you take accountability for the part you play in the destruction of your peace and your happiness, that's when you start to grow. Because now I can get the strength to say no. Because now I know why I need to say no. Because no one can ever take advantage of you without you knowing. It's not a sneak attack.
So is it?
You knew
is
it. You knew
listening
it.
to
You just didn't acknowledge it. That it was a using, because there was something in you that wanted to do it, because whether you had abandonment issues, some kind of issue made you want to do it. For whatever reason. I just wanted friends. I wanted her to like me. I wanted him to like me. It's why you did it. There is never a sneak attack when people mistreat you. It's never.
You're right. You're right.
We call it gut feeling. We call it women's intuition. But you know it. But you
Yeah, I think we're calling it
deny
when it's
it.
not that. Is what I'm saying.
We'll
Like,
say it again.
I think sometimes we're calling it people using us when they're not actually using us. We're giving something, expecting the same in return sometimes.
That's
And then when we don't get it, we say, oh, they use us.
Ooh.
Like, we put an expectation on somebody else and then say, oh, they use us. Like, no. I
But
got
that's
to
a
realize
different
I'm me,
scenario.
there's them.
That's a different scenario from when people do actually use you. When they call you at 2:00 in the morning, that is using you. Because did you call AAA?
I ain't got it.
Well, what if they?
But
But
they
what
was
if they
like,
didn't
I
have
got
trouble?
it. They was like, I got like our car broke down. I'm used to this person always coming through. I'm gonna call him to say if they have
Yeah.
that expectation of you.
like people
But then that's
expect you to
still
be
a
who
form of
you've been
using.
to them.
That's still a form of using. Because he has a good heart and because he will answer that phone at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna continue to call you. I'm not gonna try nobody else.
Yeah.
How about
What's your
I'm
phone number,
weighing
Donna?
you out? I'm weighing you out.
I'm
Think
also in
about it.
agreement of everybody should be
Take
useful.
flights.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not around useful people, then you probably got the wrong circle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
it's
too.
kind
But
of
I
like,
don't want to
It's a
benefit off
balance.
of people.
Everyone,
Y'all, my headset keeps staticking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But we also you
Everyone
also
should
if
always
you're
be a
around useful
benefit.
people, you should always help each other though. That's what the part
Right,
of
you should
beneficial
be
means.
beneficial to
benefit
each
each other.
other.
Yeah,
other.
to each
yeah,
other.
Exactly.
be
But
useful.
can you call
and-
her
Okay,
at
so
2 o'clock in the
use
morning?
other- You said what?
Can you call her at 2 o'clock in the morning? Your car break down?
Probably not. And that's
Okay.
but I eliminate. That's why I said I eliminate that type of thing. Like I do what I
Okay.
want to do. I have already in my mind what I'm willing to do, and things that I'm in lines that I'm just not willing to cross.
Mhm.
You know, but that came through maturity and later on down the road after
Yeah.
getting used a bunch. It wasn't from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Right.
So Shay, let me ask you this: what roles do boundaries play in preventing others from taking advantage of you?
I mean, boundaries is how you keep people from taking advantage of you. Of course, it's a learning experience. You have to learn when people's taking advantage of you. You have to see it to feel it, or you won't know. You know, you're even being taken advantage of. So it's a discernment. But
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely feel like. Repeat the question again to make sure I don't go too off track.
What roles
That's a
do
rabbit hole.
boundaries play in preventing others from taking advantage of you?
Yes. Yeah, boundaries is the main is that's that safeguard against being taken advantage of. Of course, going back to the previous question, everyone should always be useful to you. I mean, if you're not around people who
Mm-hmm.
aren't beneficial, you become stagnant, and so you should always be around people that you can benefit from, whether it's an emotional, energy beneficial, or it's business, or a mixture of both. And so having boundaries on whether you're doing this with good intentions of being mutually beneficial or whether you're taking advantage or whether it's a situation someone's taking advantage of you, if you have those boundaries, then you're able to prevent yourself from being taken advantage of. Or if you know you're being taken advantage of, am I really being taken advantage of if I benefited in some way that they don't know and or unwittingly did. So it's a duality situation. It's a balance. It depends on that particular. But the main thing is definitely acknowledging that you have to set boundaries, finding out what your boundaries are of your your comfortability and tolerance level, and when you find peace with that, you will find happiness. I mean, it's the goal.
Okay. I want to ask Ferrari and Andrew Money this question, starting with Ferrari. Do you think there are times when it's okay to take advantage of someone? Why or why not?
I don't think it's ever a right time to take advantage of somebody. It's just not right because I always think of what's gonna come back on me. You know, either way, like sometimes I know people that I can take advantage of, but I'm like, nah. At the end of the day, how is that gonna come back at me? Like, is it gonna come back 2 times worse? Like, so it to me, it's never a right time to just take advantage of anybody.
Okay.
Um, I would most definitely say never, but it could be a gray line into that, especially if you're trying to like help somebody with their potential. And like pushing them in a certain way. Um, if you want to say it's taking advantage of somebody, but it'll help them in the long run, probably. But nah, karma's a straight, yeah, and I don't want no parts of it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
No, Dollar VC just kind of shared his experience. When have you ever confronted someone who was taking advantage of you, and how did you handle that situation?
He gave it.
I got more. I got more use. More time to happen. I got a limit. I go on all night with that. I had credit cards taken, everything.
All right,
Right.
and this will be the final question, and everyone can. We're gonna start with B, and everyone's gonna be able to answer this question. What advice would you give to someone who feels they are being taken advantage of, but doesn't know how to stop it?
You on mute,
Yeah,
B?
Are you talking?
Oh,
You
yeah,
on
I'm
mute?
Oh,
muted.
You
yeah,
on mute?
you on mute. I thought you
Yeah,
was
mute.
thinking.
I was thinking, but I didn't know I was on mute either. Call me. I got you. I got you.
Ooh, okay.
Call me. I got you.
Mm.
If you don't know how to do it, I got you. I got you.
That's something she can't say over the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Going to Dollar Busy.
It was what advice would you give him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The advice I would give him is just stop everything. Because when you stop everything, it'll show what that
But they
person's
don't know
real
how.
intent for
They,
you
yeah, they
is.
don't know how to
They
stop
don't
it.
know how.
No, I'm saying, but they do. That's all
Whatever
I
you
tell you.
doing.
So. Like you, whatever you're doing, stop right now.
But they don't want to because they don't know how. They don't want to hurt their
that's
feelings.
You have to stop to assist, though.
what the advice is the advice. Whether you choose to use it, it's up to you. But stop right now. When they call you, what they doing? They keep calling me for this. Cool, don't pick up the phone. They can't make you pick up the phone. Like we all got to take responsibility for the part that we play in anything that's going on.
That's
So,
Mm.
you know, you just put the e-brake, everything, and then two things are gonna happen. You're gonna see that life goes on when you don't do whatever they was asking, and you're gonna see how that person treats you. If you can treat me negatively because I didn't do something for you, then that shows what our relationship is really built on. It's built on that.
Yep.
So
I do
hit the
for you.
e-brake. Yeah.
My advice would be to confront the person, wherever that person is. If you don't know how to stop it, just confront them and see what their response is. That's it. Point blank. Period.
I love it. Shay Arts.
My advice would be is stop and assess. I mean, you definitely have to assess the situation. But if you don't realize you're being taken advantage of, I mean, eventually you're gonna have that feeling. It's gonna come for you to realize that whether someone tells you or whether you feel it with situations happening, you definitely gotta stop and assess. Learn the difference between helping people and people pleasing because it's a difference, and sometimes you can get confused. And so you have to stop and self-appraise to see whether this is something that you do because you feel good or you feel like this is an obligation. And if it feels like an obligation, you need to assess whether that person is using you or why does it feel like obligation? Because it shouldn't. If it feels like that, that's where it starts to feel like you're being used. That's that feeling that you're being used. So assessment, discernment.
And sometimes helping people can hinder them as well.
That's true.
Sometimes helping them is something that they have to go through, and you have to take your hands off of it and let them go through it because that's a lesson for them to learn. If you do it for them, they never learn the lesson, and they'll come back to you again and again. But if they stay in it and learn the lesson to be learned, they'll learn how to do it themselves for the next go round.
They might not love you for it though.
They might not.
Well,
they're gonna respect
you. Just
you.
gotta
though.
stop
Yeah,
it.
they gonna respect you.
Yeah, they gonna
Mhm.
respect you. You just gotta stop it. At the end of the day, that's all it comes down to. Recognize it, realize what's going on, and stop it. If this person sits up here and gets out of your life because you decided to stop letting them take advantage, then they weren't there for you in the first place. So you learn going through it.
And my advice would be just start analyzing what you're doing for yourself. And if you're doing more for other people than you are doing for yourself, then you out of balance. And with that being said, we all gonna have a blessed evening. And thank you for showing up to Infinite Rocket Power.
Hey. Hey.